Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you're watching this from. My name is Michael Firth, one of the founding Field Advisory Board members and Crowns with Neumi. And I love doing these interviews every week because we get to hear success profiles from people who've just nailed it in the industry from all ranks. Now, before we get into this particular interview, we love the fact that we get so much scope online doing a live stream. This live stream is on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place. And each week we do these interviews, which is fantastic. So do me a favor. We love the fact that we're in 74 different countries. Type in the chat, whether you're watching us live right now or whether you're watching the replay on any of the platforms, type in exactly where you're watching us from. We're curious. We just love to see the scope we get. Having said all of that, each week we also have a prize draw for a free bottle of product, which you can win right now just by typing in the words "pick me, please" in the chat. And so randomly, we picked out another lucky winner today, and that is Monica. I might get this wrong, Robelska. Just in case I pronounced that wrong, that is the moniker that's won. So Monica, you typed in "pick me please" on last week's interview. If you just send a direct message to the page, Everything Neumi Worldwide will actually get a bottle of product out to you as a congratulations. And again, feel free to enter the competition this week as well. Now, today, I have the pleasure of interviewing people all around the world from the Neumi family, from different countries, different cultures, different languages, different accents. And today I'm blessed that actually I'm going to be interviewing somebody who I'm proud to call a friend. Not actually in my direct team, part of the Neumi family, but we've been working together ever since Neumi began and way before as well. So with that in mind, today we're going to be interviewing a double diamond all the way from the USA, and you'll hear that when you hear her South Georgian accent, and that's my beautiful friend, Rhonda Dasher. So Rhonda, welcome to the interview.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much.
Now, what I'd love to do, I know your background inside out, but I'd love people to discover your background because often I find when they're listening to interviews, they might relate to, hey, I did that when I was a kid, or I've done that in my role as an occupation or what have you. So how about we start with that first? If you can give us a bit of an understanding of your background prior to network marketing and during network marketing as well, that'd be great.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. So I have a very diverse background. After graduating high school, I went directly to college, graduated with a BS in education, and started out in that career of teaching, started working on my master's, and realized in the center of that I wasn't sure that this is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So I took a sabbatical and I started working in a salon, helping a friend. And lo and behold, I wound up going to cosmetology school, which I always had just a little hinkling that I wanted to be in that space. And so I actually taught school at night at the tech school to help put myself through. And that was a beautiful experience. I came out of that school and opened up my own salon, and I have been in that space for 30 years, and I've never gone to day or work in my life. Now, in the interim of that, I also received a personal trainer's license. So I opened a gym, started training women. And I guess I would say I dabbed a little bit in selling things that I really didn't understand were network marketing. So I would join some companies, love their products, shared them a little bit, but never really grew a business or really understood that field anyway. And I really wasn't looking for network marketing, but I kind of feel like maybe network marketing found me. And I found that space in 2010. I continue to work 1 day a week in the salon. I'm also a permanent makeup artist, so I kind of added that to the repertoire so I could add other things and do other things. But my space has been the beauty industry, the health industry, and I kind of found like I found my niche in those two spaces. So that's who I am, and that's what I do, Michael.
Beautiful. And that's where I actually met Rhonda and her sister Sherry. And I want to add this in to the interview. It just popped into my head right now. I want to say that Sherry and Rhonda inspired me because, you heard that Rhonda said that she had a personal trainer's license. These ladies are so fit. And in my 50s, I hadn't been to the gym since I was 16 or 17 years of age. And I decided by watching them, that's it, I'm doing it. And as a result, my health has benefited. So I want to thank you for that. Now, you were also on board with Neumi before we started because you're obviously close with Steve Scott, like I was as well, the founder. But what I would love to find out what was it that inspired you and excited you about Neumi the most?
You know, Neumi. and number one, I was inspired because of Steve. I've had a lifelong friendship for over 20 years. I call that my life. It's this friendship of a lifetime for me. So that's why I call it that. And I understood that Steve dealt in breakthrough products. Now, a breakthrough product is a product that does something no other product can do. So it was kind of interesting to me when I was already boosting glutathione at the prior company that he actually brought to fruition. And but I was really concerned. It's kind of like when Moses had his burning bush and he turned his head to see this thing that was happening and the bush wasn't being burned up. And I thought, what is he up to? What is he doing? And if there's a better technology, because antiquated technology is a technology that has laid dormant for over 10 years, it becomes antiquated. Science is moving, medicine's moving, nutrition information, everything is on the move. So I tilted my head to see what this was about, and I received amazing information. And I thought, if I can bypass my GI tract, which I already had issues with, I was already having to take lots of more product just to get it to work. Then I thought this may be something I need to take a look at. So I was excited when Michael, my sister Sherry, and Alex, and of course Steve, Dr. Crozier, and so many other people, maybe that I haven't mentioned, looked at opening a network marketing business because we really weren't sure that was the direction that we would be taking. But with the persuasion of a couple of friends, we decided to go that route. And now, if you know me, people know I love the Lord. And when we were going to launch this company, what got me was we launched this company. We could have launched it any day ever, Michael, but we launched it on 7/7/2021. Now, 7 is a number of completion and perfection. 21 is 7 times 3. When I saw the launching date of this company, I told my sister, let's run. And so it was exciting. We came out of the gate. My sister opened up the African market immediately, and we just started running, but we had the right tools this time.
Beautiful. And actually, it's a good segue actually to tools because, when we met, there was a great product that Steve was affiliated with, and it was awesome. About twice the price of what we have these days and all the technologies you mentioned, but nevertheless, a great product. What I found was missing in my career in the past was the fact that there was no real systems in some companies. It's not unique to one individual company. Here in Neumi, we have a system, we had processes, and one of the blessings, divinely orchestrated, was that Steve did allow the field to create those systems from the network marketing perspective. Now, in the previous interview I've done with you, years ago, I can remember this now, you mentioned that in the previous company, you didn't have any systems and processes necessarily, and that held you back. Can you explain what you meant by that?
Of course. I'm not what you would call a seasoned networker. Maybe some people would say that. Maybe I just don't see myself as that because I haven't been in a lifelong networking company. I've only really been in one company that I really actually understood the concept of network marketing. So it's not like I can pull from 4, 5, 6, 7 companies, 7 procedures that you can follow, or 7 systems. So when we were in our former company, I was so enamored with this little word called glutathione, and my sister and I spent years researching, looking at this tripeptide and what it does for the human body, what it does for the human cell, and we were so enamored with how crucial it was to the human body that we love to educate on glutathione. So we became the glutathione expert, which we really weren't, but we thought we were. But hey, nobody else had ever heard of it. So we had lots of information. Unfortunately, that became our system. Now, in our previous company, there wasn't a system that I was aware of. In fact, there were several systems, and whoever came in brought an old system. And if you didn't like your system and within your team, you just tried another system. And if it didn't work, and then that's not helping growth, and it's not duplicatable. And also what we were doing was not duplicatable because we were the educators. Take us out of the picture and glutathione becomes complicated and laborious to learn. So when we launched Neumi, it was very important. We had some level of success. We reached maybe it would be like a 3 star if you compared it to this company. We had a lot of people, and we kind of felt like we were, all the people that we had, we may have done an injustice by not having a systematic approach where it looked like we were all going to a drive-through. And at the drive-through, everybody said the same thing. You kind of brought people in the same way. We didn't really have that. So we were stretched in a lot of different directions, and that made it kind of difficult for us. So bringing in Neumi, it was very important. And I think you would remember that we said we have to have a systematic approach. Glutathione is not like selling lipstick. It's not. It's not like selling eyelashes or makeup or even anything else that you're trying to sell online. It's a difficult thing to talk about if people don't understand. So why would I need something I've never heard of? So it becomes a little bit more complicated. Now, people are starting to hear more about glutathione now. So you fast forward, 10, 15 years, it's a little bit different. But the systematic approach had to be simple. It had to be easy. It had to be doable. And I put it to the test to see its success rate. Now, we were hesitant, my sister and I speaking for her, about whether or not we would move forward in the networking company called Neumi. Okay. We weren't sure. We put lots of thought into this because we put our heart and soul into what we were doing, and we traveled everywhere, and tried to help teams. So it was a long thought process. And then when we started hearing about and putting, Steve was very open to systematic approach and everybody kind of doing the same thing. So we catch momentum early in the game, and we wouldn't have to, I mean, we started off fast, really fast. We came out of the gate, just explosive, but we had a system that helped us. So the 1, 2, 3 system, what it did for me was I love to put things to the test. And I will give it a good run for its money and try to prove it wrong, or it will prove me wrong. So my sister and I both started out, and within 4 months, I had reached diamond. Now, I was in my prior company 12 years. I never got close to diamond. Now, I was a good 3 star, if you will, solid, but I could not reach that milestone. And it wasn't because I wasn't working. I was probably one of the hardest workers. And but Michael, you would probably agree with that. I know Alex would. My sister and I both. So when I reached diamond at 4 months, my sister, who also was doing the system, was right behind me. Now she reached diamond in 5, which pushed me to double diamond in 5 months as well. That was the success that we needed to prove the fact that if you're not a seasoned networker, we'll get into this a little bit, and you don't have a lot of history to pull from, you don't have other systematic approaches, and you're just say your basic networker that loves your product, loves people, and wants to make another level of income, or maybe wants to do it full time, which is most of us, right? Then you would need to have something that would be teachable and doable, and that would be very learnable for other people who said, you know what, you haven't done networking but 15 years. That could be a very short time span. I'm not really sure. It feels like a long time to me, but it's very short compared to people like Michael, Alex, 30 years, and some others in the company that are doing amazing. Even you, Michael, I mean, you guys, I should be interviewing you, right? But we wanted to be able to show them that success is possible. See, that's hope. If you've been in network marketing, you've never had success, why would you want to join another company? Even if the product was great, just take the product. So we wanted to be able to prove our systems were very doable. You could repeat this system, you could duplicate this system, you could take your time management and cut your time in half because you didn't have to do all the education. The system did it for you. So our Neumi 1, 2, 3 is part of everything I train. You'll never hear me get on a call that I don't say connect to a tool. Hey, did you watch a tool? What tool did you watch? Connect to a leader. That's third-party validation. And then connect to the product. So it's been an amazing, easy, not simple, but easy thing to do presentations like this, to offer this to people. Hey, what is it? Let me send you a video. Would you watch a tool if I sent it? And it's taken people that look at it and say, I don't have the time for that, to, hey, I can do this in the line at the supermarket. I can do this in an elevator. I can do this stopped at a red light, passing in the gym. This is simple. All I need to do is offer what I have found.
Love, 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 love that. I heard a quote probably about a year into Neumi from a guy who's huge in the industry, and he said, "I have 1 million personal team members," and I was like, "What?" Back then we were all had this trajectory, but we just started. And he said, "Here's the secret: I didn't recruit salespeople. I'm not a good salesperson, but I have a system so simple everyone could duplicate it," which hits right home to what Rhonda was just talking about. And it's been soul fulfilling for me to watch Rhonda and her team, crossline to me, build and build fast because they have used the same sort of systems as well. And again, don't think I'm some kind of genius. I followed Alex Monterosa and watched what he had in the previous company. I thought, why is he a crown and all these other people with all this knowledge are just plateauing and hitting this roof? Because they didn't have systems. So you've heard that from Rhonda right now, someone who's experienced the gear change of doing that. So if you're in Neumi, look into the Neumi 123. You'll get a lot more traction. Now, that leads me to the next question. We're in 74 countries. I've loved the fact that I'm in Australia, but 98% of my business is in all parts of the globe. And I know you have business that's not in your backyard as well, that's in different countries. So what do you think some tips are about building internationally and catching that wave outside of your backyard?
I love that, because people are moving around. People have friends everywhere. Social media has been the best for this. People are connecting outside of their backyard. They're seeing beyond they're 5 miles down the road, the town that they live in. And so in the first company, I personally did not reach outside of that market. Now, my sister built an amazing business in Africa, which is why we were able to bring Africa on board. Since then, we have had Canada, come in, and of course, Africa, and we are working now in Africa. We have gentlemen there, as well as my sister, who are exploding the African market. And they're not just in Africa, they're reaching people outside of their African market. And this has been very exciting. If you don't think that you know someone outside of your backyard, you're wrong. And it really may not be someone you know. Okay, it may be someone that someone else knows that you wind up working with. So if you haven't thought about, 74 countries, that's a lot of countries to choose from. I can assure you, someone in the organization knows someone. So, paying attention to when our company is on social media and they're moving through these other countries and inviting you to these calls and these openings that are coming, and gathering some information, understanding there's some things you're going to need to know. It can stretch you. It certainly can stretch you. And there's so many more talented people that are doing it than myself. But if I've never done it, I have nothing to pull from. So it has to be possible for me to be able to do this, so I can offer it and talk out of experience. So it's been so fun to, I love culture, I love the people of different culture. It's how it's going to be when we all get to heaven. And I love embracing all of the culture that's coming through Neumi, and how people operate differently. And it really does let you see the world, which is what a part of what network marketing does. You don't go to a building and punch a clock and come home. No, you just get started. I know you're just getting up and I'm winding down, but today I've been on several calls. I was in Africa this morning via Zoom, and they were stretching out to people across their globe. Some in Honduras, some in, I think it was the Philippines. And so it really has been fun. It's exciting for me to watch Neumi explode. It's exciting for me, for us to offer this technology, not just for the US and for my personal country, but for countries around the globe, so everyone can experience this level of health and have this opportunity.
Beautiful, beautiful. And while you're saying that, it's funny. You talked about going into different countries, who knows who, and just yesterday about this time, actually, I was on a call with some Indonesians, and I didn't understand what they wanted the call for. When I got on there, he says, "Oh, this is such and such from Thailand. This is such and such from Japan. This is such and such from Taiwan. This is such and such from Hong Kong." And I'm like, "Holy moly! This is an Asian call, not just one unique country." And people know people know people, and so that's the
Mhm.
opportunity in your hands. Now, That lends itself back to one previous thing we said too. How can you go international if you had a million systems, but in all those countries, everyone's doing Neumi 1, 2, 3 exactly the same, just translated in their language, which makes it truly duplicatable. Now, that brings me back to the final question, Rhonda. Some people, and I want to say this, if you're watching this interview, don't compare yourself with anyone else. Sometimes you'll see somebody else, and like Rhonda said, they've known, half a dozen people in the industry that have been big leaders, and they bring them in and they go kaboom to a big rank, and you go, oh, I can't compete with that. Well, that's not network marketing, right? True network marketing, according to Eric Worre, is not one superhuman leap, right? Although that's exciting and you want that in your group, get it. The key is a lot of people consistently doing a small amount of work over a long period of time. And that consistent growth, which is more about the little guy and building up the little guy, that's the true sense of security, and duplication and success in network marketing. I think that's the most soul fulfilling thing, is helping someone who doesn't have a lot of experience. Now, I know that's a passion of yours as well. So you want to finish with that question?
Yes, that's what we call slow fast, right? So a lot of people want to start fast, and then maybe your will of a guy falls out, or loses I guess the ignition that maybe started him or her. So we say slow fast, and that's always what Alex has said, is what you've said. And so in the industry, it's I mean, we came out of the gate wide open. And in some instances, getting to diamond in 4 months is slow fast. I mean, for someone that's been a seasoned network marketer, they could bring an entire organization over, boom, be diamond in 3 days, and there you go. So for me, that I'm considering slow fast. People in the organization understand someone that started at the beginning, just like everyone, with your little membership, your 100 volume, and that's what you come in with, and then you build out using our systems, and of course operating in the power of three, which is all the systems that we teach. And so we want to build methodically. Okay, what we've seen is that if we build methodically and we teach as we go, we will hit a fast mode. The duplication process takes on a life of its own, and you don't find yourself consistently having to be slow, 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 slow. So we're going to turn that thing back to systems approach as we begin moving the organization and growing, or helping someone grow. I love it when people come to me and they say, your product sounds amazing, but I don't really like network marketing. To which I say, I understand. Okay, because network marketing was not on. It was not on my roster to do either. Like I say, it found me, but that I understand what someone is saying when they say that. Maybe they had a terrible experience, but network marketing is great. People can be difficult, but network marketing is an amazing, amazing way. In fact, President Trump said if he lost everything, he would start over with network marketing, whether you like him or not. He's a successful guy. But we want to give people the opportunity to say, what did you not like about it? Like, let's go a little bit deeper in this conversation. Well, I didn't have any success. Great. Did you have a system? What's a system? Did you have help? Did you have coaching? Did you have community? Did you have all the tools, the free tools, by the way? And what we find is that consistently, it's the same answer. I joined. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. People were doing their own thing, and that doesn't build community. That builds individualism. And in this industry, you need unity. Unity is a powerful thing. If you can find unity in an organization, the organization will spread like an amoeba. Okay. Network marketing is not I get in and you get under me. I despise that language. That is not the language that it will trigger me to do anything. I am an individual business owner. I would love to have my own micro business, and I want another level of income. Okay, I need another source of income, and I don't want to look like I come in and I'm under someone. So we steer away. We're teams and we work together. You may be in my downline, but what I love about this, and I remember saying this, you must be able to move right around me. You can. It can happen. You can move right around the person that enrolls you. You are an individual business owner. We are here to support and help you. What I love about network marketing is that there were so many things about myself that I thought I understood, and I thought I kind of had, if you will. I mean, I taught school for a while. I was teaching boot camp classes. I was a teacher by nature. but there were some things that the Lord had to work out in me, and people will bring out the best and the worst in you. And success, I remember Jerry Bogus said, failure and success are both enemies, treat them the same, right? So, you know, getting a level of success should bring you to a level of humility because we don't get there on our own. We get there by others helping, and we rise by lifting others. And these are things that I had to learn over a period of time where it wasn't really about me per se, and I wasn't responsible for other people. What I was responsible for is how well I learned and how well I could teach to teach. And so reaching that level of diamond, I remember we used to say, who wants to be diamond? And everybody would raise their hand. Everybody wants to be diamond. And Steve would say, well, who wants to do the work? And the work is just working on you while you help others. This industry has allotted me, you, Alex, Sherry, and so many more people. James, I just saw an interview with James. I love Karen's interview, to really get to know me. Like I have to know me and what I am. And I can't put my needs in front of someone else's. I have to meet their need. And so that is a level of what we call servant leadership. It's called humility. It's a fruit of the spirit, right? And we want to make sure, and when we're bringing people in and watching people grow, that we're not just watching them grow to make money, to rank, to have recognition. Those are byproducts. What we really want to do is help them grow within themselves so they can turn around and each one reach one. So this has been kind of like the second half of my network marketing experience. I've matured in a level that I absolutely needed to. With success comes a lot of responsibility, if you will, on your part to make sure that you are grounded and you're not hopping from company to company. You're bringing people in. You're stationary. You're stable. They're not looking whether or not, I mean, the Bible says that Paul says, this one thing I do, this one thing I do. Now, I do a lot of different things, but this one thing I do, I'm looking at glutathione and I'm looking at what it does. And if you see me, you're going to see two things about me that maybe you love or don't love. I love the Lord. You're going to see me write about that. And you're going to see me passionate about glutathione. I may swing some hair and do some brows, but this one thing I do, I always learn this. If you chase two rabbits, both of them escape. And I don't want to see that happen to anyone that I'm personally bringing in. So I want to keep that focus. And to keep that focus, I myself personally, Michael, feel, this is my personal opinion, that I too must be focused.
Love it. You know what? That was a question that wasn't even in my mind, but it's so true. And every single leader who has nailed it consistently and stayed growing through the business has said exactly the same thing about chasing two rabbits. If you go and try and represent multiple companies, you escape achieving success in both of them. So that's actually a really good point. You know what I love, Rhonda, is that you epitomize the culture of Neumi. You know, they say leadership starts from the top down. Steve is all about integrity. That's why we followed him. And of course, the team, servant leadership, that sort of stuff's duplicated through the entire world now through people like yourself, which has been great. So thank you for sharing. I'm sure people are going to get a lot out of this interview, and I can't wait to hear the feedback. As we wrap up, just want to remind everybody, as I said, we're in 74 different countries. Type in where you're watching us from. We'd love to see that in the playback, but also now's your opportunity. If you haven't done it yet, type in "pick me, please" in the chat, and then we'll put you in the draw next week, and you might be the lucky winner. And remember, the lady that I mentioned her name at the start, if you could send a message through to the page, we'll get a bottle of product on the way as a congratulations for you as well. So thank you, Rhonda.